Oh, what the heck? Where is this thing? Alrighty. There we go. Alright, what is up, guys? We have the Asics Metaspeed Edge Paris here. I'm going to keep it brief tonight because I want to get some sleep. I got to shower and then go to sleep. But when I was down at that Running Warehouse event last week, or out in California, our friend Matt told me this was his favorite racing shoe. And I feel like I kind of wrote this off when I first tested it. I really love the Sky Paris. I used that for my marathon. It was a little bit too aggressive for me. And this felt pretty similar, but I don't know. I haven't tested it for a long run yet. And I'm hoping that we can get a little bit more out of the setup here. The plate is a little bit lower in the forefoot, and I think it should be just a touch more forgiving for heel striking and some little bit more relaxed pace. So we're going to give it a shot. We're going to give it a shot for the long run. This is one that we haven't run in a while. Edge Paris, baby. Let's do it. I'll see you in the morning. All right, what is up, guys? It is Sunday morning, 6:08 a.m. And this morning, we're going to get some miles in the Asics Metaspeed Edge Paris. So, quick overview of the Edge here. Very lightweight racing shoe. You get a tall stack of the FF Turbo Plus foam. And main difference between this and the Sky is the carbon fiber plate. So in the Sky, it's really hard to tell, but they put the plate, this ridge line is the carbon fiber plate, up closer to the foot. That makes it a little bit more of an aggressive ride, versus on this one, you can see it swoops down here and you get more foam above the plate. So I really like the Sky. It felt fast, it felt aggressive, but it was a little too aggressive and not stable enough for me for a full race. So I'm wondering if this guy will be a little bit better for this 20 miler, if I can get a little bit more stability out of it and also a little bit more comfort. And I'm kind of skeptical about the plate differences between these two, but I'm wondering if over this distance it will make a significant difference between the two. So we shall see. Asics Metaspeed Edge Paris. It also looks like it's a little bit wet. Can you see that? So I guess we're going to be doing a little bit of a grip test as well. But I got to get my coffee in, then change, and then we can get out there and go. So this is the coffee this morning. Natural process from Thailand. I had a cup of this yesterday in the afternoon. Super good. The tasting notes say plum, blackberry, chocolate, nectarine, guava. It does taste like a lot of those things. It's fruity, but it has that nice fermentation note, almost like a nice red wine. It's fire. Then for breakfast, we're going to keep it simple. Boom. Whole wheat English muffins. Then I'll throw some jam on there. Bada boom, bada bang. This toaster is, I think it's on its last legs. Even though we just got it for Christmas, it's struggling. So what happens when you have a family of 5, you need an industrial strength toaster. None of this Target shenanigans. And then drip today, of course, I'm going to go with the Jonji 5-inchers. I don't know why that was of course. It's not of course. It's not obvious, but Jonji 5-inchers. I think these are my favorite training shorts. They just look sick and they feel good. OS first socks, nice and lightweight. And then this is the of course. Boom. Of course, we got the Hobby Jogger hat coming through. Bang. By the way, these are now available for pre-order. Hobby Jogger hats. Embroidered snap closure in the back. Nice performance material, some sort of polyester. is great. I've been testing these. They are fire. I think we pretty much nailed the toasting today. This might be the best one yet. Look at that. That is a perfect English muffin. So we're going to go Earth Balance with the best jam ever from the farmer's market. Stuff is fire. Then we're going to be in business. Strawberry and black raspberry. Boom. Look at that. It's going to be fire. Also, I accidentally took a sip of my coffee, so second sip, guys. Everybody knows the rules. Well, I guess it's still one sip, but it's the second sip. One sip, second sip. Everybody knows the rules. I don't think I nailed the extraction on that one. I did a big 3-cup Chemex yesterday, and I usually don't like how those turn out, but that was better than this. This is a little too acidic. Yesterday's was more, it had more sweetness to it. It was more full-bodied. It was more fleshed out. This one I'm getting, it's more astringent. This is more citrus, lemon, lime. Not as much of the plum and guava coming through. Man, all right. But it is 6:28. I want to be out of here not too late. Oh, but I'm not a rapper. So I'm going to crush this, and then we can get our Edge Paris and be good to go. Five-minute breakfast. Boom. That was quick. All right, so for fuel, this is what we're going to do this morning. I think it's called Torque Gel. Caffeine gel with guarana. I got this at the Running Warehouse thing. I have no idea how it's going to be. I've never heard of this brand before. It also kind of sketches me out because it says vegan so prominently on the front. They have the same thing on their hydration mix, their electrolyte mix. Anything that should be vegan, that says vegan, it just freaks me out. Were they debating putting an animal product in this? What type of an animal product were they going to put in this? It's like you go to the grocery store and you're in the vegetable aisle and they say vegan and plant-based. It's like, bro, what kind of animal product are you going to put in this? Probably not the vegetable aisle, but if there's any processed food that should not have an animal product on it that says vegan, you know that they're up to something sketchy, because that means they were debating. They were going to throw some pig guts in there to cut some costs or something. But let's see. Yeah, maltodextrin, water, guarana. I don't know. It's a gel. How many calories does it have? Oh my goodness. Holy cow. It has 198 grams of caffeine or milligrams in this thing. Is this the 100-gram one? Oh, yeah. Also, look, you can tell sometimes it's from the UK. This thing just looks British. You know what I mean? Look at the Q. Look at the Q and the R. It's a British R. It's a real British R. Banoffee. Is that banana coffee? Banoffee? Is that what all my lads out there say? Banoffee? So yeah, I'm going to go for these British gels. British vegan gels. Also, that's a British vegan logo right there, bro. I think the British are just a little bit curlier. You know what I mean? Everything's curly. Out in England. Yo, they said I was too American. They said I was too American this week, man. Somebody emailed me and said I was too focused on the American market. Bro, I live in America. What do you think this is? Banoffee? Shenanigans, bro. I'm just kidding, guys. Shout out to all my soccer fans. I love you. Let's go. Nice and moist out here this morning, but another beautiful morning. And our tree is just blooming. Let's go. So here's the thing about this shoe and the Sky Paris and why I wasn't too hype on them versus other shoes. Look at this heel. It is very narrow, and that's why I said it was a big mistake that I wore the Sky Paris for my last marathon. Well, actually, I've been saying it wasn't a big mistake because I don't make mistakes. Well, I do make mistakes, but everything is a learning process and learning experience, so I don't mind that I picked the wrong shoe, but these are very narrow shoes, both the Sky and the Edge, and for the full marathon, we want comfort, man. I want comfort, and so that's my biggest concern with the Edge as a marathon runner. And our friend Matt, who said this was his favorite race shoe, he just did a 5K. He's more half and below. And so I think once we're getting up to 2.5, 3 hours, the stability with the heel for me, man, that's a big deal. So we'll see how this does for the back half of the run today and for the last 30 minutes. I'm sure it's going to feel great for the first 30 minutes, first hour. It's really, how's it going to do on the second hour? So with that, guys, let's lace this thing up. So plan for this run. I need 20 miles to get my 100 on the week. So I'm not going to be a hero today, and I'm going to do exactly 20, so we can get exactly 100. All right. Man, and this is a little bit snug. It's not necessarily that it's shorter, it's just shallow or something. Yeah, I think it's both, actually. I think it's shallow and shorter. My toe is actually all the way up past the foam here. Look at that. My toe is literally past where the foam is. And I know someone's going to say, why are you doing this, bro? You have so many other shoes that you could run in. You're right. I don't really have a good answer for you. I guess I just want to do the 20-mile long run test in this. Because that's what I do. I test shoes, guys. I run miles and I test shoes. That's what I do. Should I get one of those Facebook shirts that they sell? You know what I mean? You guys know what I mean? With all the words on the back. Those silly Facebook shoes that are targeted to dads and moms. Some of you guys aren't going to know what I'm talking about. But yeah, this is definitely a snug fit. I wish these brands would just standardize their sizing, but that's okay. That's okay. Step and feel on this guy. You do get a wider forefoot, and the forefoot stability feels really good because of that plate, and it doesn't feel too squishy and squirrely when stepping in. And that's another reason I liked this. The foam isn't tuned to be super soft. It's definitely firmer than ZoomX, and it activates with some faster running. And that's why I actually really liked this thing, because it felt at my marathon pace and faster, the foam was coming alive. And that's how I felt in the Sky Paris too, but towards the end of my race in the Sky Paris, it actually felt that when I slipped a little bit below marathon pace in those gritty teen miles, it firmed up too much. So, man, there's some elements of the shoe that I like, others where it just feels a little bit too aggressive for me. But we'll see if the Edge is any different with the additional foam we get above the plate. Maybe that will change the ride experience so that we prefer this guy a little bit more. But yeah, man, it is narrow. I'm already getting some rubbing over here, and it is short. We'll see how my toes do. But we'll be fine. We have some other shoes to test this week that are a little bit longer, so I'm sure we'll sacrifice some toenails this morning, but it's all for the love of shoe too. Oh, and look at this. Wait, what the heck? Okay, we have to relace because the right one was laced up one higher. I wonder if I ran the whole time like this last time. I think somebody actually commented about that. But that's just how they came. I didn't do that. See if that makes a difference. Doesn't really make a difference in terms of fit, but I do really like the upper on these though. It is very lightweight, and that's one of the key draws of the shoe. I didn't drop it on the scale this morning, but it is a very lightweight shoe. But all right, guys, plan for this run. We are going to do 20 miles. First 4, nice warm-up, and then I'm going to cruise for 10 to 12, whatever that means. Just cruise, and then we're going to jog it back home for the next 4 to 6. So at least 10 with some good effort in there. I'm not sure what pace that's going to be today. And we're getting closer to Chicago. I don't know if I'm going to go for a big PR, guys, because it's my first major. There's going to be a lot of shenanigans going on. It just doesn't sound that fun for me, but I do want to be in good fitness so I can go out and bang whatever pace I decide to that day. So nice 20 miler, 10 miles at pace. We'll see what pace that is in the Edge and hopefully have some fun out here. What do you guys think? Have some fun. Let's do it. All right, early overreaction here and just thoughts reacquainting myself with the Edge Paris. I'm remembering now why I went with the Sky for my race. This feels like a race shoe, but it's missing just a little bit of that zest. And of course I'm warming up right now, but at this warm-up pace, it doesn't feel special. It doesn't feel like it has that bounce that you might expect. And there's not a big rocker. And that's why I loved the Endorphin Pro 4 as a hobby jogger race shoe, because that felt fun at every pace. I'm remembering now with this shoe, it really felt good only once I can't even crank it up to that pace yet. I need to warm up, but once I drop below 650 or so, for me personally. Yeah, not harsh or uncomfortable at these warm-up paces. Definitely more comfortable than something like the Endorphin Elite. And the geometry isn't as aggressive as that shoe. But it just feels a little unremarkable at this, I don't know, 730, 740, 750 pace, maybe even slower. I think I might get more pop at this pace from a training shoe that's tuned a little bit differently. And that's why with both of these shoes, the Edge and the Sky, I advised, and I still hold to this, if you're not going sub 315, there's gonna be a better shoe for you out there. And that's not to say you won't enjoy these shoes, that you can't race in them. You can. They're just firmer and not gonna give you as much pop as something that's tuned slightly softer and more forgiving at slower paces. For me, if I were gonna race at 330 or slower, I would 100% be going with the Endorphin Pro 4 over this, especially for heel strikers. Now, aggressive forefoot strikers might feel differently because you have the width from the plate, but for heel strikers, that's not gonna be the case. And man, we missed our leg check because we were yapping. So a little leg check right here. We're feeling okay. I have a feeling I can hit some 640s, 650s, 640s. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to hit 620s and 630s, but we'll see. All right, I'll warm up into this run, flip it back on when I have something to say.
Oh, by the way, for fueling, those English muffins were super small. They were a lot smaller than the Dave's ones we usually have. So I ended up trying to chug some Tailwind. I did 2 scoops, but there's barely any left, so I probably had 30 calories worth of Tailwind. I am a little hungry, so we'll see how it goes. Might have to pop this British lubricant earlier than we thought. Or maybe I'll take half of the British lube at mile 4, the other half at mile 8, something like that. All right, that was mile 1, 7:56. A little slow. We'll warm up into it though. Ah man, this is one of those mornings. Feeling a little creaky. And so far, the edge is not working. I don't know, it's not working, it's just, all right, some shoes, race shoes, come out the gates, bang a 710 on the long run. That's not what's happening here. Right now, this feels like a narrow, firm daily trainer that's giving me a little pop. Feels like a fun daily trainer. Almost like a Takumi Sen. I know that's not a daily trainer. But the narrowness here is quite apparent. Which again, that's what I'm saying. This is not a Hobby Jogger marathon shoe. And so far, man, I'm thinking, I don't even know if I'd use this for a half marathon. And I actually think the Sky, even though it's more aggressive than this with the plate, I think that one might be a little more stable for me because the plate is wider. This one is just very narrow. All right, we're on mile 2. I feel slow and sluggish right now, but we're gonna be able to crank it out at mile 4. We just gotta wait it out through the warm up and then get the legs turning over. But what I wanted to say was, it is hard for me to compress this foam at this warm up pace, 8 flat. And I know it's gonna change once I start putting some pace down into it, but this is why pace matters when picking a race shoe. I have a whole video called that. The way we can compress the foam, the narrowness, our size, all these factors really do matter. And right now, even though this shoe is a little small for me, meaning I should be able to put some force into it because there's not as much foam here as there would have been in my typical size, I'm not able to compress it a lot at my warm-up pace. So this is not a versatile do-it-all shoe like the Endorphin Pro 4. This is a specialized race shoe. And I'm sure once I start hitting some pace, it's gonna open up and I'm gonna love it. But it is important to note here that this is not gonna be for everyone or for every pace. Everyone might be able to use this for some fast run, some fast workout, but not every race, not every distance, not every pace. All right, I'm battling through this first section of the run. We're at mile 3 here, and this is so far just, oh, I'm not gonna complain. I'm glad that we're out here getting some miles in. But I think my sleep this week is catching up to me. I checked yesterday and I was averaging 5 hours and 50 something minutes, which is not great. I try to not dip below 7, but I was traveling the week before and catching up on stuff, so we're paying the price. You gotta pay the price sometimes. If you go in the tank, you're gonna hit empty at some point, but we're still turning over, holding the 8 flat pace. That's okay. maintaining that aerobic base. And this is exactly what I'm saying. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go for a big PR in Chicago. I don't know if that makes sense right now. We have 3 extremely energetic young ones. I'm working full time, absolutely grinding at the 9 to 5. Then we have this puppy I'm trying to launch. We just did the hats. I have another product we're gonna launch soon that I think you guys are gonna like. It is not merch, but it is something you've been asking for a while. I'm just not sure if it makes sense to add another layer of stress on top of all that. And then there's another voice that's saying, you're just being scared. You're just being soft. Maybe, but maybe being scared and being soft will help me be a little bit less stressed and execute well on the other stuff going on. And then we can go to Chicago and have fun and plan some sort of a meetup, and I'm not gonna be stressed about banging at 2:39. I can just enjoy meeting everybody. So I don't know. But I do know myself. That is one of my good qualities. I have lots of bad qualities. I'm not a great test taker. I actually just failed the test recently. I had to take this test for this opportunity and I failed it. You guys are probably gonna be, what? You have an MBA? No, I'm a terrible test taker. But one of my good qualities, I am self-aware. And I know that going for a big PR makes me stressed out. So who knows, man, who knows? Whew. Trying to open it up a little bit here. Got a little bit more of a more pace in before we hit mile 4, because that's when I want to really start dropping it. And yeah, it feels so much better. I don't even know what pace I'm going. Let's see. Yeah, that's just 720 pace. Feels so much better at that versus 750. But man, am I slow this morning. Holy cow. Man, you can't outrun bad sleep. Maybe we can out caffeine it though. So, torque gel. Well, pull up like I'm out in, I don't even know any UK spots. Nando's? I think they serve banana coffee at Nando's. All right, let's see. A little Banoffee torque gel, 1 squeeze, 1 squirt. Everybody knows the rules. Oh, All right, the first squeeze was fire. Coffee or banana, very banana. The aftertaste tastes like the inside of this packet. And I did have, or you saw those orange drink mixes, those both expired March 2024, and I just got them at Running Warehouse. So this one says it expires January 2026, but it tastes like the inside of the pack. But I haven't been taking that down by a gel yet, so I'm probably just gonna finish it. But a little weird taste there. But hopefully the 200 milligrams of caffeine gets me going a little bit more. Also, I did stash another water bottle in the mailbox this time, not on top. So I think there's a triangle of trade-offs where on the top you have sleep, on the left bottom you have quality miles, and on the other side you have extracurriculars. So you can do extracurriculars and sleep, but you're not gonna get a lot of miles. And by the way, sorry, no, it shouldn't say quality miles, just miles. You can do miles and sleep, but you're not gonna have time for extracurriculars. Or you could run and do a lot of other stuff, but you're not gonna have time to sleep. It's the triangle of trade-offs for hobby joggers. All right, mile 4, 7:52 pace. We have not been able to naturally progress the pace this morning, so we're just gonna unnaturally do it. I'm gonna force myself to try to get down to 7 flat here. See how it goes. All right, we're cranking it up. We got the Banafi in our system. Shout out to Rushi. That's his name, right? Rushi Sunak. I wonder if Rushi Sunak is out putting in the miles this morning over at Downton Place. Is that what it's called? 119 Downton Street. I don't know, man. Whew, all right. Yeah, we're putting in some work right now. I told you, I know I'm gonna be able to crank it up to 650, 640. I'm not sure 620. But this shoe is definitely coming alive. It's not as explosive for my stride so far, but it is more comfortable. And not as, when I say not as explosive, compared to shoes like Endorphin Elite and Sky Paris. And it can feel a little bit mushy because we have all that foam in the forefoot, but I think it might be a little bit more comfortable towards the end of this run. The question mark still though is the heel stability. Hey, out here like Giannis. So yeah, this run's not gonna be a total fail. And it's not gonna be a total complaint fest. We'll at least have one good mile. Oh man. Oh man, you guys see that? Tree down. Whew. Reminds me of man down in lacrosse. All right, that was a 6:41. Look at that. Self-awareness at its finest. Man's out here putting in work. Let's go. Morning. All right, so I just hit a 6:18, which I was not expecting. So I'm absolutely flying in these things. So basically, if you watched however many minutes we are in now, I apologize for wasting your time. Because everything I said before was wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Everything I said before was exactly right. This is a great shoe for running fast, not for running slow. Woo. And of course it's a race shoe. Of course it's not designed for running slow, but warm up, cool down, training, that type of stuff. Not gonna be the specialty for this guy. But throwing down some pace, yes sir, yes sir. No Maybach and hang down the chauffeur. So the cool thing about this shoe, as I'm flying downhill at a 6:07 pace, it is not gonna bottom out. That's the benefit of the firmness at those slower paces. No matter how much force I'm putting into this puppy, it is just giving it right back to me. Woo! Yeah, I feel so efficient in this. Like I'm essentially losing no energy. And because of the narrowness, when I land correctly, I can just go straight forward. But it is gonna work the ankles, and you are gonna need some strong ankles in this guy. I do have to land more forefoot to midfoot and really pop off using that lower leg strength to get the most out of this. This is not a hanging back on the heels type of vibe here. You're also gonna need some strong toenails because they're gonna get obliterated. All right, that was mile 8, 6:11 pace. We are cruising. I'm gonna bang the other half of this Banafi and just grip and rip, baby. Let's do it. Banafi, yeah! I'm the Banafioso. It's the Banafi Miles family. The Banafi Grime family, baby. Let's go. Okay, I have another question for you guys. 2 days ago I asked, do you think Jimmy Butler could hold 5K pace, or sorry, 6:30 pace for a 5K? And the answer was yes. Now, my other question is, at what distance race do you think I could start beating Jimmy Butler or Stefan Diggs or another athlete like that? So 100-meter race, I'm definitely gonna lose. 200-meter race, I'm gonna lose. 400, probably gonna lose. 800 and mile, that's my guess for where things start to flip and the endurance comes into play. I'm curious though, at what distance do you think a hobby jogger who's conditioned to run a marathon could beat a pro athlete? Morton and Banafi, then just till it's over. And then over, Cochisosa, hit him with the Cobra. All right, this turned from a complaint fest into a pace party. I'm stringing together 6:11, 6:12s, and feeling good in these. Feeling good in the edge. Light, fast, and efficient. Comfortable. Fast, yes. Man, that Banafi's out here kicking like Jet Li. Kicking like Adam Vinatieri. I feel like I'm off of orange football right now. Downhill, there go the toes. No more toenails, see you later. Oh, hill on the last mile crushed me, but 2 miles of pace left. Finished strong. Pace slipped a little bit, but last mile here till we hit the cool down, and we're hanging on. We're hanging on. All right, that was our last mile of pace. 6:35, a little demoralizing because we were clipping off 6:10s. The hills are just crushing me. Once we got back into the neighborhood, it's completely flat out there on 51 for the most part, and 6:10, 6:15 felt really smooth. Then we come back in here and I can barely hold a 6:30 on the hills, but it's good training, I guess. And my watch doesn't say how many feet of elevation I have, but these long runs are usually over 1,000 or about 1,000 for a 22, so probably a little bit less. But regardless, that was much better than I thought. I thought I was going to be holding 640s and 650s. Instead, I was able to get down to 620s and 610s. And my only mile slower than 620s was that last one, which was almost all uphill at the end, but solid effort. This is the part of the program though where the race shoe starts getting a little bit less comfortable So we got 6 miles to cool down now, just to get 20. And usually I try to line up the faster running so it ends closer to 20, but I wanted to do it on fresher legs this morning, already, because I knew I was already a little bit beat up, and I'm glad I did that because I was able to see I do have some 610s in me. I think my fastest was actually a 602 downhill. So for the rest of this run, we're gonna be checking comfort, stability, and how it does for some time on feet. Because we're at about, we're at 1 hour 38 minutes right now. So we're gonna cool down 5 to 6 more miles. That'll put us at roughly 2.5 hours. So that's a good long run test. And the weather is a little bit cooler this morning, which is nice. I might go grab my other water bottle though, just so I'm hydrated. And actually I might do the other Banoffee, just so the recovery is easier. That's the thing, I hit my paces, I did the workout part. That doesn't mean it's time to just forget about the nutrition, because right now the nutrition will help me with the recovery. It'll make sure I'm not grumpy for the rest of the day today like I was yesterday. It'll make the rest of the day and tomorrow a little bit better. And by the way, I realized Banoffee, I don't know if it's banana coffee. One of my UK lads is probably saying, it's toffee, mate. Toffee, banana toffee. So it might be banana toffee. And there's probably a comment about it already if I had to guess. Yeah, we're not even 1 mile into this cool down, and I already feel like I'm trying to run with Cinderella's slipper on. So this is not a chill shoe whatsoever, but we're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it done. Look at that, our second loop, and it's gone. Somebody was out here on a Sunday putting in the work, cleaning up the neighborhood. Now that's some good public service right there. All right, mile 17, real quick. Switcheroo. No ants on the bottom this time, all this time. Let's go. Oh. Oh, that is so good. That is so good. Now we're almost at mile 18 here, and I gotta say, we're doing okay in the Edge Paris. It's not as bad as I thought for time on feet. Definitely better than the Vaporfly for me. Way more stability. The heel might be a little wider on this, and because, that was mile 18, we are crawling along an 8:39 pace. But because the foam is a little bit firmer on this than the Zoom X, it is standing up better to some time on feet. So I'm surprised. Better than I thought, for sure. Better than I thought. All right, guys, there we go. Boom, 20 miles. Average 7:18 pace. I don't even know if you guys can see that. 7:18 pace, 20 miles, 2 hours, 26 minutes, 10 seconds. It's humid again, huh? The camera's been marinating. Still not working with the little defog situation. But man, that run is a great example of why the marathon is hard. So average 7:18 pace. But we were bipolar on that one. Meaning our runs, our paces were on either ends of the poles. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, bipolar, but we were dropping six flats and 610s for the pace, and then I was at 8:30 for the cool down. And the reason that's making me remember that the marathon is hard is because it's reminding me that this thing, the law of specificity, right? I've been talking about this a few times recently, where you can only work on one thing at a time. And so for this run, I was focused on the pace, that those 10 miles in the middle, I wanted to try to run those 10 as fast as I could sustain for those 10 miles within a 20-mile long run without having to walk the last 6 miles. But I ran them so fast that I was dang near a walk pace for me. I was at an 8:30, which is a very slow recovery pace. And man, marathon training is all about spending as much time as possible at race pace. And this run is making me realize my race pace is probably between 6:10 and 6:20 right now, because that's where I was hanging for most of those miles. And the hills were crushing me, but man, it's hard to go long and be fast. And then if you only focus on getting faster, it's hard to have that endurance. And my endurance is strong right now. But that means it's harder for me to get the speed. But those 10 miles were solid. That was a really good set there, a really good session, whatever you want to call it, because I was cruising at, 6:40, 6:30 for the first two, and then dropped it all the way down to 6:10s. And then the hills obliterated me on the last few miles of pace there. We dropped down to 6:20, 6:30. But that was a good effort, and the shoe kept up really well today. And my toenails are actually doing okay. But you can see the toe, even, it's weird, the toe box, it's almost like they designed it to hang over the foam. And I'm wondering if they did a little bit of trickeration here and they purposely made it shorter in the size. So they made a 10.5 fit more like a 10 just so the weight would be down in the specs. That's a little conspiracy theory. Eh? What do you guys think? Did they purposely make this fit short so that I would weigh in less in the sample size 9, which really is more like an 8.5? You guys know what I mean? A little bit of trickeration from Asics there, huh? Birds are out this morning. All right, let's go do this breakdown. All right, guys, 20-mile long run in the Asics Metaspeed Edge Paris. One of the lightest weight, fastest, most aggressive, most efficient feeling racing shoes that I have tested this year. Right up there with its brother, sibling, sister, twin flow. You guys listen to that song Twin Flow by V's and Lucky? I always drop all these songs. Rilo, Chief Keef. I was singing Chief Keef today. I know 95% of the people who watch this channel are not listening to Lucky and V's and Chief Keef. But you are, if you are. But if you are listening to those guys, let me know. There's a lot of good music that's come out this summer. But this is one of the lightest weight, fastest, most aggressive, most efficient feeling racing shoes that I've tested. As I said, right up there with the Sky Paris, Endorphin Elite, Alphafly, Vaporfly, Takumi Sen. There's a lot of great options in the lightweight segment, but of all of those, this one probably has the smoothest feeling ride, and I wasn't expecting that coming out of the gates today. I was expecting it to be a little bit harsher. I was expecting it to, put me up on my toes more, but it felt okay. It didn't feel great at those slower paces, but as I got into the run, that's where it came alive, and it really surprised me in the last 10 miles how comfortable it was. That was my number one concern with this shoe. I did not think it was going to stand up too well to time on feet, but it actually felt okay for the last few minutes of that run. So I'm going to throw up the splits right here. We started off at a nice relaxed 7:58 flat-ish pace, and for the first 30 minutes of this run, the shoe felt completely unremarkable at that pace for me, and I'm going to guess for a lot of people out there, at your everyday pace. it's not going to feel too peppy. It's not going to feel too lively. It's not like the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4 or even like the Alphafly or Cielo X1, those shoes that just have that bounce to them because of the tech that's built in. There's no, and get this out of here, there's no crazy tech in here. It's a normal race foam. They haven't done anything with it to make it an ultra modern compound, and there's a carbon fiber plate. So the Cielo X1 has that crazy rocker geometry with the 2 different types of foams and that big old stack in the back. The Alphafly has the AirPod unit. The Saucony Endorphin Elite has that crazy rocker. There's none of that going on in here. It is a simpler shoe, and the beauty of it is the simplicity. So after the first 30 minutes, when we started, let's throw it up again, cranking it down to 640, 630 and below, that's when the simplicity of the shoe started showing its value to me. And I think the shoe that it most reminded me of is something like the Adidas Takumi Sen. Very narrow, very flat feeling. There's not a huge rocker in here, but as I put some force down into the shoe, it gave me something back, and it made it easy to run fast. I was throwing down a 6:10 pace on the flat, and I didn't feel like I was pushing too hard. I actually felt like I could sustain that for probably 10, 15, 17 miles. Well, that is until I met the hills and got completely humbled back here in the neighborhood, but I felt very efficient in this shoe. That's something that I felt in the Endorphin Elite as well. Those are probably the 2 shoes that have worked best for me. This Endorphin Elite and maybe the Sky Paris at faster paces. Those shoes all make me feel like I can run 620 and below without that much effort. That doesn't mean I enjoy them the most. That doesn't mean that they're the most comfortable, but I would guess if I were to go into a lab and do the treadmill test with my running economy and what my heart rate is at that marathon pace or faster, I think I would test really well in the shoe. Something about it, the narrowness, it really directs my energy forward. It forces me to land in a certain way, and I think the optimal landing zone is probably right around here with the shoe, given how the plate is shaped. And I know I was given the plate position people, PPP, a lot of flack earlier this year about the plate position. I still don't think we should focus that much about the plate position. We got to focus on the mileage. We got to get our mileage up, and then we can start obsessing over the plate position. This shoe is not going to help me run a sub 240 or a sub 245. You know what's going to help me do that? Just getting out here and slaughtering myself on the hills week after week. That's what's going to help me run a faster marathon. But as my lacrosse coach would say in high school, planned diversion. That was a planned diversion, because you got to let them know sometimes. Mileage is the most important thing when it comes to marathon training. But as I was saying, with the Edge, felt very efficient. Ideal landing zone is somewhere up here, and it makes me feel like I'm wasting no energy, that every step I'm getting maybe 2 or 3 inches more. It's extending my stride maybe 2 or 3 inches more. I'm getting just a little bit more pop and bounce out of this shoe than I would with a normal training shoe or any other racing shoe. So it works really well for me, but you got to bear in mind, okay, I'm 6'2". Right now I'm probably between 155 and 160. And at that, of course the mosquitoes are getting me, but at that 620 and 610 pace, I'm putting a good deal of force down into this shoe. And that's why it doesn't work for me too well at the 730 and slower pace, because it is a shoe where the foam is, man, it's not a, look at this. It's not a soft and squishy foam whatsoever. It's one of the firmer racing foams. It's probably even firmer than Light Strike Pro. So keep that in mind. It is firm, it is narrow. You have to be running fast or have a lot of weight, be carrying a lot of weight for it to work for you. And I would still not advise this as a shoe for bigger runners, because unless you're throwing down a sub 250, sub 240, you're likely going to be spending a lot of time on feet, where towards the end of the run, you're going to want some more stability, you're going to want some more support. And today, going 2.5 hours, it was okay, but I still could feel, man, when I was going downhill, crushing 6 flat pace, I felt like my ankles were getting worked pretty good, just trying to land up at the front and making sure that I wasn't wobbling around. So this is not a good shoe if you need stability. It's not a good shoe if you're maybe running a little bit slower paces, 9-minute, 10-minute pace. And I'm not saying that to gatekeep. I'm saying that because I want to guide people into the right product. This is still probably not the product I would personally pick running a 6 flat or 610 or 620 marathon pace. I am not going to run in this shoe at Chicago. I can tell you that right now. It's still too aggressive for me, and I think most people are going to benefit from something a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more stable. So yes, this is a fun, fast, aggressive, light racing shoe, but I still don't think it's a hobby jogger marathon shoe for most people out there. I personally, as a reviewer, I do have my biases, and I am biased towards comfort, stability, and support over the marathon. So where I would slot this in, and what I think this is best for, is half marathons. This is gonna be a great shoe if you're trying to run a fast half marathon PR. And for most people, that's gonna be, when I say fast half marathon PR, probably 2 hours and below. This is gonna be a really fun shoe. If you're doing 10K training, 5K training, this is gonna be a fun shoe. For me, I would probably use it as a half marathon shoe. Again, I feel very efficient in this. And as I was throwing down 6:10 and 6 flat pace, which was my last half marathon pace, my half marathon PR I think is actually 6:04 pace, I felt nice and smooth in this and decently comfortable. Of course, we have the toe box issue. Make sure to go half a size up, but that's where I would slot in this shoe. Can it do long runs? Yes. Can it do marathons? Yes, but it is an elite marathon product, and I know there's going to be people out there who've bought this and who enjoy it for 3:30, 3:45s, and 4-hour marathons. And that's great. That is perfectly fine. I think if you're a stronger runner, if you've been running more experience, running for more time, you have stronger ankles, you don't need as much support, or if you just want to get one of the Asics shoes because they're the newest, fastest, lightest things, then this will do great. But for me personally, I go for comfort over lightweight. I go for support over speed. That's how I go for enjoyment, even over efficiency most of the time. You like what I did there with that alliteration and consonants, bro? I dropped 3 of them right in a row. Bars off the Banafi. Just out here spitting bars like Rishi Sunak. Shout out to all my lads out there watching soccer. Just standing out here in the street getting rained on holding shoes. Let's go. Out here like Randy Moss. All right, what else do I need to tell you about this shoe? All right, upper. Let's talk about the upper. Extremely lightweight. It was not that even that hot this morning. It was probably only about a 70 US temperature. People keep asking me to do the European conversions. Bro, go type that into Google. 70, I don't even know what the Celsius is, but it was about 70 to 75 American weather. Very lightweight. I did feel a little bit of sweat pooling in here, but not too bad. I do have to say the other thing is it's not a soft and squishy step-in feel, even with the insole. And there's not even, now I'm realizing there's not even a removable insole. It is glued down into this puppy really good. So there's not a lot of comfort baked in here, but I didn't have any discomfort with the upper. There was no hot spots, no rubbing. The only issue was the length, and my toenails actually do feel okay. I would go half a size up, but the upper is solid. The upper is solid. It's not a great upper. It's not a terrible upper, but no rubbing, and the fit was good. Yeah, around the back, decent amount of flexibility. That shouldn't bother you too much. And let's take a look at the outsole here. It wasn't actually raining when I was running. It was a little bit damp, but no slipping at all. This is much better than the Endorphin Elite, much better than the Nova Blast. One concern though is, look at this. We are starting to wear on the foam just a tiny bit. Let's see on both of them. Yeah, you can see we have a little bit of foam wear and tear there. So this is not going to be the most durable shoe, but again, it's not designed for durability and training. Okay, let me finish this up there because it's starting to come down. Yeah, it started raining pretty good down there, so just gonna finish it out up here. But as I was saying, this is not gonna be the most durable shoe, at least the foam down here for training, given the rubber coverage, but it has decent grip, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. Oh, look at that. That's a little bit sketch. The paint is peeling. It's just why? The paint isn't, you don't even need the paint, so it's just funny that they put something ornamental on there and it's not even working. But yeah, this is going to be a solid shoe. If you want something light, fast, I would advise most people out there probably half marathon distance and shorter. If you are very efficient, regardless of your pace, if you are very efficient, light on your feet, this is probably going to be a solid
marathon shoe for you. It would not be my choice, and it would not be my choice for bigger runners who want a little bit more support, especially given the narrowness of the platform. So some other options I would suggest for most people, Saucony Endorphin Pro 4, that's still my pick over this. For bigger runners, man, we got the Cielo X1, we got the Adidas Adios Pro 3. There's a lot of good shoes out there. Those are probably my top picks. Cielo X1, if you want something very fun, bouncy, not as light as this, but you get a lot more stability. And then Adios Pro 3, very fast feeling shoe if you can put some force down into it. And then the last one I would suggest is, what was the one I was just thinking of? Oh, of course, Super Blast. If you're more in that 4-hour, 3:30 marathon range, you want a product from Asics with a little bit of this firmer, fun foam. Super Blast or Super Blast 2, that's a good marathon shoe and a much better training shoe, one of the most durable training shoes out there. There's one other shoe that I wanted to say, though, one other marathon shoe. Yeah, SC Elite V4, that one is wide and stable. I'm trying to think. Oh, Saucony Endorphin Elite. That would still be my top pick for bigger, powerful, stronger runners who want a fast-feeling shoe. That's just going to have a little bit more of that width. I think us bigger, taller runners can benefit a lot more from that width. Even though this wasn't the worst when it came to the end of the run for stability, the Endorphin Elite just, I feel like I can trust the wider, more stable shoes a little bit better, and that gives me more confidence. And we only did 20. If we did 22, 23, I think it would have been exposed. And I told you I could feel it going down the hill when I was really letting it rip. The stability was not the best. So this is a great shoe just for me. It's going to be half marathon and below. If you're really one of those tiptoe type of runners, I think you can get away with this for the marathon. So as always, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Get your miles in. One more thing, absolute banger out of Suckwell Kitchen, homemade pesto with the bow tie pasta, a little Beyond sausage. This is gonna be great. So I have 3 bowls of this. Ronnie, what do you think? Is it fire? You say fire? Can't say fire.
You can't see her.
I forgot to say also sun-dried tomatoes in here, which just completely sends it off. That's a little sweetness. Bang.